Welcome back. My name is Lee for Lou's Kitchen. Today we're going to make a delicious 2-ingredient pizza crust. It's high in protein, it's low carb, it's also low calorie as well, and it actually turns out pretty good. So I'm going to show you how to make it and how easy it is to do. So welcome back to my channel where we do a lot of from scratch cooking. So today we're going to make a 2-ingredient low carb, keto, low calorie pizza crust. And it actually turns out pretty good. So I got this idea from the Keto Twins. So they actually did a 2-ingredient bun recipe. They actually got this recipe off someone else. I can't recall who it was though, but it looked really good. I had the ingredients, so I actually gave it a go. And they were wondering, how would it turn out on a pizza? So I decided to actually turn it to a pizza, and I'm gonna show you how delicious it is and how it turns out. So this recipe actually made quite a bit. So I decided to actually cut this recipe in half. So what we're going to need today is we're going to need half a cup of egg whites. I've used them from another recipe. I actually made this recipe yesterday and I used frozen egg whites from my freezer. They've been there for a year and they whipped up perfectly. So no issues with that. And then we're going to need 3 tablespoons of chia seeds. I've got the white chia. I'm sure it doesn't really matter except for the color. And then, so that's the chia seeds I use from Woolworths. And then last, we're just gonna need some cream of tartar just to actually stabilize this. Yeah, it's an optional, but I think add it anyway just to play it safe. And then a little bit of salt, nice and easy. So first we're gonna start by grinding up our chia seeds. So I've got 3 tablespoons of chia seeds here, and I'm just gonna put them in my mortar and pestle. You can use like a spice grinder or something like that, but it's such a small amount that I'm not going to bother, and I'm just going to grind these. You know, I think it's just to make it a little bit finer in the actual so-called dough, because you do get that little bite of the actual chia seed when you're actually eating it. So I'm just going to add a little bit of salt there. That'll help break it up, as well as add a bit of flavour to the actual recipe. So I've ground them up the best I can. It just makes them just a little bit finer, not hugely, but they're going to be absorbed by the egg anyway. So now I have a large bowl here, and I'm going to add my half cup of egg whites. So that was 4 large egg whites. In we go. So something to keep in mind, if you're using carton egg whites, this may not work because the carton egg whites have already been pasteurized, so they might actually foam up properly. So just keep that in mind. You might need to use fresh eggs for that. I'm just going to put in half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. That just helps the eggs just build up properly, and it stops them from collapsing so easily. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to beat these to stiff peaks. So I've got these to stiff peaks now. Now, unfortunately, you can hear my air fryer in the background. Apologies, I'm just using that for my oven today. So now we're going to add our chia seeds with that little bit of salt as well. And the way I just stir it in is I just do it on low speed. And that's it. That's our dough. All right, so I have a pizza tray here. I'm just going to spray a little bit of oil on here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my greaseproof paper on here. And that's just going to stop that from actually moving while we're trying to add everything onto it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to spoon this onto our pizza tray in the middle here, and we're gonna kind of, I'm just gonna flat it out to like a pizza-like size. And the mistake I made with this yesterday was I made it too thin, so some of the spots were a little bit too thin for handling the toppings. So I am making this just a little bit thicker than you think you'd need. It doesn't actually inflate or anything, and when it comes out the oven it will actually deflate a little bit, so just keep that in mind. And so right now I have my oven or air fry preheating to 170 degrees Celsius. And that was the beep right now. And that's about 325 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit. All right, so as I said, I'm using my air fryer today. So I'm gonna put this into our air fryer and we're gonna bake this for about 15 minutes. You'll find that the top is nice and golden, but you wanna take it a little bit further, not so it actually burns or anything like that, but so it's got a nice and golden color in it, so we make sure that crust is nice and crisp when we put our toppings on. All right, so while that's baking, let's go through the actual ingredients for my toppings. So here I have some shredded ham, I've got some shredded chorizo, I've got some shredded basil here. This is a perennial basil, so it actually comes back every single year. It's pretty good, not as good as the actual green basil, but it's still really good. And then we're gonna put some mozzarella cheese, of course. And then with the actual tomato sauce, I'm just gonna use tomato paste with this. And the reason why is that I used a homemade pizza sauce last night and it was just a little bit too watery and I found the actual dough start to sweat a little bit. So I'm gonna use tomato paste tonight. I know it's not my absolutely favorite, but I think it's gonna turn out a lot better. I'm gonna find it's actually gonna get a lot less soggier. Oh, look who's just all sucky because he wants to eat all my pizza toppings. Felix loves pizza night just as much as me. All right, so I've just taken this out of the oven, took just about 16 minutes, and you can see that. I'm gonna tell you something, it smells nothing like eggs. So, such a really good vessel to put your toppings on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some tomato paste. I guess you could cook down some actual pizza sauce if you really wanted to. It'd probably turn out a lot better. All right, so that's on there. We're gonna go on with our ham. Now chorizo. All right, now I'm going to pile on the cheese. And because this isn't a fathead dough that already has like a cup of cheese in it, we can actually go pretty heavy with the cheese if we want to. To me, it's like glue, holds everything together. And then lastly, we're just going to add basil. I'll pop that on top there. All right, now I'm going to pop this in the air fryer until this cheese is nice and golden and melted. It's going to sound absolutely amazing. All right, so it's ready. There we go. It took about 10 minutes. I didn't want to turn it up any higher than the 170 degrees because I didn't want this actually to like burn too much or anything like that. And now it's just a matter of slicing into this. All right, so let's give this a go. So I just let it cool down slightly. So when I tried it yesterday, it did hold up. It was just a little bit soggy, and that was because of the sauce, but as you can see, that is completely holding up. And it's got 2 ingredients in it. That is really good. You do get the chew of the chia seeds, so if you're not a fan of chia seeds and the bit of chew you get from them, you might not be a fan. But other than that, this turns out absolutely amazing. It's very neutral, so it doesn't taste much, and this is the second time I made it. I made it last night as well, so that tells you it's actually good. And yeah, basically anyone can have this except for maybe vegetarian or vegan, but other than that, absolutely amazing. I would just hold off on any soggy toppings like pineapple and all that, and I would probably just use a really dry sauce for this. But other than that, absolutely amazing. Hope you give this a go. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.